Hey guys, we are going to do some Cuckoo Clock troubleshooting today, but I'm really excited about this particular video because it's kind of an experiment. So a guy named Mark reached out to me. He's having some trouble with his Cuckoo Clock, and so he sent me a video and a picture I'll show you in a minute. And so what I want to try to do is show you the video and try to diagnose and troubleshoot what's going on in his clock, show it to you in this clock here, and hopefully help Mark out in that repair and help you guys out as you are trying to troubleshoot or repair any Cuckoo Clock issues, which, by the way, Cuckoo Clocks can have so many issues. This is just one little tidbit, but I think it'll be helpful. And it's kind of an experiment because if it goes well, we can do more of these. If you have questions, repairs you're needing help with, send me a video, reach out, and I can try to make a video in correspondence to that to help you out and anybody else who's running into the same issues. So here we go. Let me show you the video, and I'm going to show it to you on this phone because I don't have time to edit videos right now. So here we go. So on the first Cuckoo, it's working correctly, and then it stops on the second Cuckoo. And so I'm going to kind of walk you through all the things that could cause that to happen, and then I'll show you what I think the particular issue is. So what makes all the cuckooing happen is the bellows and the whistles in here, which this is pretty interesting. So this is just like one of those train whistles that you had as a kid, but instead of blowing into it, there's this bellow here, just like a blacksmith has, and when that bellow drops down, it pushes air through the whistle and it comes out the side and makes a whistling sound. Whistles and troubleshooting those, that's a whole nother topic for another day, but we're going to talk about what actually triggers them to happen. So whenever the minute hand comes around and it goes to either the hour or the half hour, a bunch of little levers go off and then it causes this right here to turn. Now this right here is called the star wheel because it looks kind of like a star because it's got all these points. Now when the star wheel turns, it's going to lift up these little bitty levers down here that you probably can't see in the video very well, but you got one there for the hammer, and then you got one there for that, and one for that. Now let me show you this working. Let's see if we can fire it off here. All right, so now this star wheel is turning, and it drops one lift lever and then the other one. And so the proper order is hammer first, and then high pitch and low pitch. So gong, cuckoo. Now, what's happening in Mark's is it will gong, and then it will coo, but then it won't do the second coo. So what that tells me is there's probably something going on in this general vicinity. And there's a whole bunch of failure points that can happen in that vicinity. So let's kind of go from bottom to top. This right here is called the lift lever, and this right here is called the lift wire. This up here is the bellow tops, and then there's the whistle. So let's go from here at the lift lever. So starting at the bottom of the lift lever is this little lever that contacts this tooth on the star wheel. Those little levers can get stuck on each other because there's three of them down here. They can catch on each other. They can catch on the star wheel potentially. And then you go to the lift lever itself, and these lift levers can catch on each other sometimes. So that's something to watch for. You can see how they're kind of crisscrossing here. Sometimes, depending on how they're bent, they can get stuck on each other, so they'll kind of get stuck like that, and they won't be able to move independently. So watch out for that. Make sure they're free of each other. Make sure they're free of this crutch down here. They shouldn't be able to hit anything. That's really important. So then, if we go here to the end of the lift lever, there's a little loop right there. Now, in a picture that Mark sent me, let me pull it up and show it to you real quick. That little loop is really hard to see in this picture. It's a little blurry, but it's right here, and it's more of like I don't know how to describe that. It's really long. It's not just a little loop, but it's like this long, almost like a shepherd's crook, but much longer than in this case. Now what can happen there is that if this gap right here is too big, then this lift wire can slide into that gap and get stuck. And so it can bind. So we want to watch out for that. Make sure that gap is closed up nice and tight. This one is perfect. just like that. No chance of that lift wire getting caught in there. Now, as we go up to the top of the lift wire, of course, there's lots of things that could hit this lift wire if it's not routed correctly, so watch out for that. Then as we get to the top, this lift wire has to connect correctly to the eyelet in the bellow tops. So this one's easier to see for you guys. Right here, the top of the lift wire, and that is what it should look like. It's this funny like curly Q thing going on, but this one is set up correctly, and that's what you want to see. Oftentimes you'll see it going through the wrong part in this crook. It'll be caught in here, or this part of the crook will be bent over, so it's like a big loop that it's all caught inside of. You don't want that. This is what it should look like. If it's not like that, you run a chance of, or run a risk of it binding on this little eyelet here and causing headaches. So that's what you're looking for there. And of course, that little tail that sticks out here, let me show you again. That tail right there, it has the potential of catching on things. Depending on the arrangement of the clock, there might be something nearby that could snag on, so just watch for anything in that vicinity that it can't catch on it. So it should be able to move up and down freely without any chance of snagging or binding on that eyelet in any way. Then as we go up to the top, we have another lift wire, and this lift wire is for the bird's tail. That's what makes the bird bob his head. Every time the cuckoo happens, it moves the bird there. Now that lift wire can easily get caught on all kinds of things. It can get caught on the ceiling. It can get caught on the bird. It can get caught on a dancer. It can get caught on the front wall. It can get caught on all kinds of things. So watch out for that. And it's particularly tricky because this bird actually moves along the top of that lift wire. So at one point, it might not catch on anything, but then when that bird moves in or out, it might catch on that lift wire somewhere. So watch out for that. Another thing is as we're lifting this lift lever, if it lifts too high, it's going to struggle because these bellow tops, they only open so far. That's as far as they go. So if that lift wire is trying to lift it that far, it's going to get to the top and go, and just not be able to lift it. So you want to make sure that it's lifting an appropriate amount, but not straining to get it way up high. If it is doing that, you can just bend that lift wire or lift lever down just a hair, and that will fix that. Now, let me show you what I think Mark's issue is. So it's hard to see. His picture's a little bit blurry. If you look right there, I believe that is the lift wire for the bird. And it's running right underneath this other bellow top. And so this cuckoo clock is a lot more cramped. It's a much smaller case. And so I think what's going on is this lift wire for the bird's tail is routed down under here. And so every time it tries to do the second coo, it tries to lift up that wire, but that wire gets snagged and can't come up until you force it to pop free. So that would be my suspicion. But with all these things, you should be able to see it relatively easily. So move that star wheel, and then once you get to that second coo, look around, and you should be able to see something snagging on something else. It should be pretty straightforward if you look at all those different points that we've talked about. So I hope that helps you, Mark, and anybody else who is troubleshooting an issue like this. A lot of guys don't like working on cuckoo clocks because not only is it a hard word to say, it's a hard clock to work on because there's 1,000 different little things that can drive you crazy. But hopefully this will help with one of those things that can drive you crazy and keep that from happening to you. So hope that helps you guys, and you guys have this. You got this. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.